I want to start with the Epstein files and what the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, told me in the last segment, that effectively, case closed. He said it's possible if somebody sees something with all of these documents that have been released that requires them to look into a potential prosecution, perhaps, but other than that, they're done.
And case closed has been their mantra since January. In January, they demanded all the files from the prosecutors in New York who were running the case, brought them to Washington and said, this case is over. We're not doing anything else. They told us the same thing when Kash Patel came to the Judiciary Committee. He said, it's been fully analyzed. Everything's been redacted. There's nothing to see there, and there are no further cases. And when people said, have you spoken to all the survivors? There are dozens of survivors who are out organizing and talking about what needs to be done. He says, well, our doors are open if they have something to tell us. They've done no real investigation. Their entire determination has been to shut it down to protect Donald Trump. And your interview with Mr. Blanche is astonishing because it shows he has never once attempted to make the transformation from being Donald Trump's personal criminal defense lawyer to the number 2 person for the United States Department of Justice.
I know you want to see, a lot of this, as the last time, was redacted. A lot of the victims are upset that it looks like they were protecting the people who were, the men who were involved.
Yes. And
not necessarily them. But I know that the Justice Department, he said in his press conference Friday that people like you and other members of Congress could go and see the unredacted documents. Are you going to do that? And
Absolutely.
What are you going to be looking for?
We sent them a letter, and so we're demanding a right to do it. I hope that the Department of Justice will keep to its word and let us in there. Remember, they've said there are 6 million potentially responsive documents there. They've only released 3 million with more than 10,000 redactions. So we have to go look at those redactions. They've not sent us the explanation yet for those redactions. But then what about the other 3 million files? Because we are witnessing a full-blown cover-up. Remember, not only is there a subpoena to Attorney General Bondi to turn everything over to Congress, now there's a federal law compelling them to turn it over, and yet we're just getting these dribs and drabs of information coming out, the stuff that they want us to see.
Yeah. I mean, they say 3 million documents is not nothing, but
it's close to nothing when they're deciding which documents are coming out, and there's a federal law and a subpoena compelling them to just turn everything over to Congress. And they said that they had done this process many months ago, and there's nothing to see there.
Folks, what I just saw in this Jamie Raskin interview is jaw-dropping, and you're not going to hear this from the mainstream media. Epstein files still mostly hidden, the Clintons dodging subpoenas, and a Justice Department that seems more interested in protecting the powerful than enforcing the law. If you care about truth, accountability, and defending America, you need to hear what I have to say next. Trust me, this will make your blood boil. So, let's start with the Epstein files. Raskin claims the DOJ is basically protecting Donald Trump while pretending to investigate. Now, let's be honest here. How many of us actually trust a Justice Department that spent 4 years chasing Trump while barely looking at real criminals like Epstein and Maxwell? He says there are 6 million documents, and only 3 million have been released, and with 10,000 redactions. Redactions, people. And the DOJ won't even explain what's behind them. Meanwhile, Raskin acts like they're the heroes, demanding more access. Give me a break. This isn't about justice, it's about politics. And it's clear the DOJ has lost its credibility. And the part that really gets me is how they're spinning this, as if Trump somehow benefits. The American people deserve the truth, not a circus where prosecutors pick and choose what you get to see. If there was ever a moment to demand accountability, this is it.
In other words, this is settled fact. This is what the lawyers call res judicata. It's over. So Donald Trump obviously wants to keep going back to the scene of his crime, his attack on the election, to claim that something's there. But everybody saw what happened. He called up the Secretary of State, a Republican, Mr. Raffensperger, and he said, just find me 11,780 votes. That's all I want. And so that's not Donald Trump trying to stop election fraud. That's Donald Trump trying to commit election fraud.
I do want to ask about something that's coming up in the House this week, and that is the former president, Bill Clinton, and Hillary Clinton. They were already held in contempt by the Oversight Committee. And several Democrats voted yes on that, too. It's going to come before the full House soon. Will you vote yes?
I mean, I will vote yes on contempt against them and anybody else as long as Pam Bondi is part of it. And the Democrats on the Oversight Committee raised Pam Bondi. Remember, she's got millions of documents that she is legally compelled to turn over under a months-old subpoena and under federal law, and she's not doing it. So I don't think we should be holding anybody in contempt, including people who've engaged in at least partial compliance, unless we're going to get that huge mountain of documents that's being held by the DOJ.
So presumably Republicans are not going to do that.
Well, if they're not going to do it, then they're not serious about investigating the Epstein files, and that's what America wants.
So you vote no on the Clinton?
I will definitely vote no on any partisan measure, one side or the other. I want all of the information from everybody, and I want everybody to come forward and comply, including Ghislaine Maxwell, G-Max, the sexual predator who Virginia Giuffre said opened the gates to hell for these women and for these girls. I wonder if Mr. Blanche has even read Virginia Giuffre's book about what happened, Nobody's Girl. He should go ahead and read it and try to understand what he's doing, because he's acting like his only interest in the whole event is to protect Donald Trump.
I do want to ask about what's going on in Congress, which is directly related to what we were seeing on the ground in Minneapolis. The government is effectively shut down now because the House, the deadline came and went on Friday. The Senate passed a package that would fund most of the government. I shouldn't say the government is effectively shut down. Parts of the government are shut down.
Yeah, it's Homeland Security and some associated.
It's Homeland Security, and the House Democratic leader, Jeffries, said that there aren't enough Democrats to go along with Republicans to keep it open. What is going to happen? What do you want to happen in order to reopen the government with regard to DHS funding?
Well, that's the key question. And the country's in an uproar over what we've seen in Minneapolis, where they're shooting U.S. citizens in the face. People are being gunned down simply for exercising their First Amendment rights and their Second Amendment rights. And the whole country's been able to see that and to catch the administration in the lies and the propaganda and the disinformation they're telling. What do we want? We want the Constitution to be enforced. We want ICE to obey all of the laws that every other law enforcement entity in America obeys. They should not be masked. Local police are not masked. The county police are not masked. State police.
That was agreed to in general, but there's a 2-week window while those details are worked out.
Well, that's right.
Will you vote for something that at least funds the government for 2 weeks while that is negotiated?
Yeah, well, the devil is in the details, so we want to see everything that's in there. They should not be anonymous. They should be identifiable, and they have to have rules of engagement that don't allow them to terrorize and intimidate, harass, and assault U.S. citizens and other people.
Next up, the Clintons. Raskin says he's going to vote yes on contempt for Bill and Hillary, but only if everyone else plays by the rules. Meanwhile, Republicans on the Oversight Committee aren't even serious about holding them accountable. Folks, this is a problem. You've got a party in power that wants to protect their own while pretending they're enforcing the law. And the Clintons? They got millions of documents they're supposed to turn over under subpoena, yet they drag their feet. The American people see it, and we're tired of the excuses. If the DOJ and Congress were serious, nobody would be above the law, not the Clintons, not anyone else. But instead, we get red tape and political posturing. Classic Washington corruption. Now, let's talk about Georgia. Raskin goes off on Trump's calls about ballots, calling it fraud. Sure, the courts rejected the claims, but let's not forget how partisan the media has been covering this. You have Trump, who many of us see as trying to protect the integrity of the vote, being portrayed as a criminal. Meanwhile, election systems themselves are under zero accountability. Raskin even tries to tie everything back to Russia and 2016. It's the same old story. Blame conservatives. Ignore real corruption and call it settled fact. Folks, this is exactly why we need honest election audits and transparency in every state. The people should have faith in their elections, not in politically motivated narratives. Raskin also touches on the government shutdown and DHS funding. He criticizes law enforcement for, well, doing their jobs. He acts like federal officers enforcing the law in places like Minneapolis are terrorizing citizens exercising their rights. Give me a break. Here's the reality. Americans are tired of politicians playing politics with national security and law enforcement. ICE and federal officers aren't the enemy. They're the ones keeping us safe while career politicians argue over funding. And Raskin, like so many Democrats, would rather undermine law enforcement than ensure public safety. That's unacceptable. And finally, the credibility of the DOJ. Raskin says the department is investigating cases like Alex P. Y's death. But let's be honest, too many people have left the DOJ because they're not taking these cases seriously. A federal agency that lies in court and shields criminals isn't a Justice Department. It's a political tool. Folks, this is exactly why we need to drain the swamp. We need a DOJ that protects Americans, not the powerful elite. We need transparency, accountability, and adherence to the Constitution. Anything less is a betrayal of the public trust. So here's the bottom line. Raskin's interview exposes what many of us already know: Washington is broken. The DOJ is politicized, the Clintons keep dodging accountability, and the American people are left in the dark. If you love this country, if you believe in the Constitution, it's time to pay attention, demand answers, and hold these people accountable. Don't just sit back while the swamp runs wild. Stay informed, stay engaged, and make sure your voice is heard. If you agree, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me what you think about the DOJ, the Clintons, and the Epstein files. America deserved the truth, and it's time someone delivered it.